Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. I pray all is well with you and that Yah is blessing your life. I'm back to read a scripture, and today it is the book of Dani'Yah, chapter 3. Praise Yah. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babel. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather together the viceroys, the nobles, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the viceroys, the nobles, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald loudly proclaimed, "To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that as soon as you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, the lyre, the harp, the pipes, and all kinds of instruments, you shall fall down and do obeisance to the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and do obeisance is immediately thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire." So as soon as the people heard the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, the lyre, the harp, all kinds of instruments, all the people, nations, and languages fell down and did obeisance to the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Thereupon, at that time, certain Kasdim came forward and accused the Yehudim. They spoke and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, the lyre, the harp, the pipes, and all kinds of instruments, shall fall down and do obeisance to the gold image. And whoever does not fall down and do obeisance is thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire. There are certain Yehudim who you have set over the work of the province of Babel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no heed to you. They do not serve your power, and they are not doing obeisance to the gold image which you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and wrath, gave orders to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my power, and you do not do obeisance to the gold image which I have set up? Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, the lyre, the harp, the pipes, and all kinds of instruments, and you fall down and do obeisance to the image which I have made, good. But if you do not do obeisance, you are immediately thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire. And who is the power who does deliver you from my hand?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. For if so, our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning furnace of fire and from your hand, O king. He does deliver. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your power, nor do we do obeisance to the gold image which you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with wrath, and the expression on his face changed toward Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He responded and gave orders that they heat the furnace 7 times more than it was usual to heat it. And he commanded some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the burning furnace of fire. So these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, and their turbans, and their other garments, and were thrown into the midst of the burning furnace of fire. Thereupon, because the king's order was urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning furnace of fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was amazed, and stood up in haste, and spoke and said to his counselors, Did we not throw three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, Certainly, O king. He answered and said, Look, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of the Almighty. Then Nebuchadnezzar went near the mouth of the burning furnace of fire. He spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High Power, come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came from the midst of the fire. And the viceroys, the nobles, and the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together, seeing these men on whose bodies the fire had no power, and the hair of their head was not singed, nor were their garments changed, nor did the smell of fire come on them. Nebuchadnezzar responded and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his messenger and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and changed the king's order, and gave up their bodies, that they should not serve nor do obeisance to any power except their own power. Therefore, I make a decree that whoever of any people, nation, or language who speaks any wrong against the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his limbs shall be taken and his house made a dunghill, because there is no power who is able to deliver like this. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babel. Praise Yah. Shalom.